so for the remainder of our time for this course, we're just going to do reviews. That includes today and all next week, and in the afternoon sessions where I'll be doing different problems. So if you want to watch the live stream in there, great. So I've got Advent of Code up here. It's been going on for almost 10 years now. And instead of doing the first day here, I want to go back last year and continue. And then we'll come back here and maybe do this one. But otherwise, I did notice, I'm going to refer you to Accenture Federal Services. And if you go and get hired there, make sure that you mention my name because I'd like $20,000. Right, okay? I don't know how that works, but whatever. All right, so let's go back to, I wasn't intentionally saving it, but I really liked this, when I went back to look at it, I really liked this exercise. You'll see what these are all language agnostic, so you can solve them by hand if you really want to. But each year has a theme of some sort, and they involve, some fundamental programming exercise. This is on day 8. So day 5. They get progressively harder, and I wanted to do this one in the H section here because it involves stacks, which is a fundamental data structure. Remember what a stack is, right? You start at the bottom, you can push things onto the top, but then when you take it off, you always have to take it off the top and you pop it off. That's how a call stack works. This one is a physical stack where you've got a giant cargo crane, and then you've got a bunch of stacks. Here, the example that they give, they always give examples, and then they'll give you a much larger one to deal with. For example, I don't know if everybody gets a unique puzzle or if there are 50 different copies of a puzzle or it's auto-generated or something like that. But my puzzle looks something like this. Right? So in other words, there are going to be 9 stacks. That is an initial configuration, right? So here's the bottom of the stacks, and here are the top of the stacks. So let's come over here and read more about it. Basically, it has a bunch of directions. Move 1 from 3 to 2, 1. In other words, move one element from 2 over here to 1. Move D over here to the first stack over here. In this example, there are 3 stacks. Stack 1 contains blah, blah, blah. Then rearrangement procedure is given. In each step of the procedure, a quantity of crates is moved from one stack to a different stack. In the first step of the above arrangement, one crate is moved from stack 2 to stack 1, resulting in D being over here. Move 3 from 1 to 3. In other words, we're going to look at 1 over here, and we're going to move 3 things, which is D, N, and Z at this point, over to 3. So we're not going to take the entire thing and move it at once, at least I hope not. Instead, we're going to take only one crate at a time. Move D over here, resulting in D being down there, then N, then Z, and you have this configuration one at a time here. Okay. Then both crates are moved back from stack 1 to stack 1. Again, blah, blah, blah. Finally, one crate is moved from stack 2 to stack 1, leaving stack 2 empty. The elves just need to know which crate will end up on the top of each stack. So in this case, the solution that they're looking for is C, M, and Z. Okay. After the arrangement procedure, what would you get? What would you enter? Now, if this were the puzzle, we would actually enter CMZ down here, but it's not our puzzle. That's our puzzle. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and try to attempt this in Java. Okay, and usually I start with the example inputs to make sure that I can debug and everything like that before I put in my own input. And Advent of Code, I don't know, 2022 or something like. I think this is not showing the question. Oh, was I not showing that? Weird. So just a second. All right. So that's fine. It's not even static. So sorry. One moment here. Let's go ahead and move it over there. Move that over there. Okay. And transition. Okay. So can you see me moving now? Looks like it. Yeah. I have no idea. I'm dealing with something online here. Somebody pointed out that looks like I'm refreshing, but the screen there was not refreshing. There we go. All right, so sorry. Here is the question. Once again, you've got these stacks, right? You move 1 from 2. In other words, you take n and you move it over to. It is not. Oh no, it's still not fixed. No, it is not. Oh no, it is fixed. All right, I'm looking at the live stream over there. All right, it's moving now. Good, thank you. All right. So anyway, you can take a look at this. You of course, I think you can actually jump to this after the event is over. You can jump to any day that you want without having completed anything. For example, yeah, you can jump all the way to day 25 or something. So if you want to go to Advent of Code 2022, day 5, and you can follow along at home here. All right, so we've got these stacks here. I'm going to go ahead and create Advent of Code, I don't know, 2022, day 05, right? 05, all right? That is a terrible, terrible class name, but this is kind of a, just a fun programming exercise, so it's not something that I would put into production or anything like that. Public static void main string args, right? So my first step here is to establish those stacks, right? Because of what I actually want to treat them as stacks because I can only take from one end and push things on the top of it or pop them off the top of it, right? And in Java, that's why I chose to do this in Java, because you have a stack data structure that can hold single characters, or it can hold anything that you want, actually, right? And I'll just call this S1, right, is equal to new, and there is no, actually I think that there is a stack implementation. Let's go ahead and try to import it. Nope, over here. Nope, okay, fine. Import java.util.stack, I think. There we go. Yeah, you can do it like this. Otherwise, the standard implementation is a linked list, right, or an array list, right? It's just a list, okay? And if I treat it like a stack, I can push a character onto the top. I can s1.pop a character off the top, right? I can ask how many things are in it. I can look at the top. That's called peeking, s1.peek, right? And I can see what's at the top of the stack, right? So obviously this was designed by somebody who knew what they were doing. Hey, all I have to do is use a collection of stacks here, and they're good, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to establish a collection of stacks here, and I'm going to put them into a list because I want to get the first stack or the second stack or the third stack. And so let's go ahead and create 3 stacks here instead of just this one stack. And I will have a list of stacks of characters. Right, there we go. Stacks, right, because it's plural, is equal to new array list of, and then I'll leave that blank there. Remember that you can't do this on Code Post because they're using Java 8. Well, no, you can do this on Code Post because they're using Java 8, but you can't do it with an anonymous inline class with your comparators. Right? So let me go ahead and, actually this is terrible practice too, but competitive coding encourages bad practices because you need to get it done fast. Right? We're not going to make the leaderboards here. We're a year late. Right? But I'll go ahead and import everything here. That is a terrible practice because you have just imported every single class in java.util. There are other packages out there that have a list class name, right? You shouldn't be bringing that, now you're going to have a conflict. What if I want to bring in another library that has a set defined, right? Now I've got a conflict, right? So be more intentional. Don't include libraries that you're not actually using. But I've got my stacks here. So for int I equals 0, I is less than, for now, it'll be 3, I plus plus. I will add a stack, stacks.add new stack of character. There we go. So now I've got my 3 stacks. But do they have this initial configuration right now? Nope. So let's go back and, what I could do is I could put this into a text file or a data file or something like that. I don't want to do that, right? I want to have the first stack having z and n. So what I could do is stacks dot get the first one dot push something, right? Do I push N or Z first for the first stack? Z. Why? Because first, last in, first out, right? I need to push it down at the bottom, so Z. Oops. Z, right? And then I can push N. This is going to get very unwieldy very, very quickly if I do it like this, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and, can you push all? Stacks dot push all. Nope. All right. I'm going to define. I thought I would be able to push them all, but I guess not. I know. Is there a stacks? Let's see. Stack. All right. Is there a copy constructor? Nope. All right. That's all that's defined there. Gross. All right. So I will want to use a linked list. Okay. So let's actually use a linked list for my stacks. Stacks.add a new linked list, or an array list if you want, of characters. Right. Now that's going to be the first one, but I want to initialize it with Z and N as its elements. And so I can do that by using, arrays.asList, right? Z and then N. And that is a way that I can add, I should be able to treat this like a stack. Why can't I treat this like a stack? Oh, add all. Sorry. There we go. Of course. Stacks.add new linked list. This should be, let me try this out. So list of characters. Why can't I treat that like a linked list? Equals new linked list. All right, that should work. Now can I, foo. Now can I change this into a stack? I should be able to. All right, fine. We'll do decks instead. There. Deck. Can I do that? Good. Here's the explanation. A deck is actually more general than a stack. What you can do, a deck is short for a double-ended queue. So a stack is where you can put something on the top, take it off the top. A queue is a line where the operations are you get into the line in one direction, but then you don't work from this direction to pull people out. Instead, you're standing in line waiting for your turn. So that you pull it out the other end. So one of them is LIFO, last in, first out. That is a stack. Then we look at a queue as a first in, first out, because the first person to get in the line is the first person served at the other end. Right? A deck is both of those things. A deck is this thing that you can put things in one end and take them out that end, and you can put them in at the other end and take them out at that end. We'll go over this in computer science too in much more detail. But I just wanted to have a deck here because I don't want to have to worry about, I can treat it like a stack, right? As long as I only work at one end and ignore this other end here, I can still treat it like a stack. And I've got N and Z in there. Wonderful, right? Well, let's do it for the other three. A, B, and C, okay? And then I will add them all, stacks.add A, stacks.add B, stacks.add C. Right? And we'll come back and clean this up here in a second. And what are the other ones? DCM. And so I went DCM, so MCD. There we go. It's just a really quick way of initializing these three stacks. What's the other one? P, just one thing, P. There. Now we can print these out. Actually, let's test this because A dot push, push, pop. I think system.out.println. If this is the correct order here, and I pop b.pop from B, then that means that I should get D out of that. So let's just test this to make sure. Oh, we got M. So these need to be reversed. D and M. And then this one is N and Z, it looks like. And then I don't have to change this one. Now, if this is correct, then I should be popping off of D, and this should print out D. Okay, we're good now. Just to show you that popping will work for the rest of them, let me pop all three. This should be DCM. All right, good. We're all good now. All right, so let's get rid of this. Now what we need to do is we need to process this list of moves here. I'm going to cut and paste this over into my environment over here. So string commands, right, is equal to, I could do it something like this, right? That's kind of ugly though. Now in Java 12 or 11 or something like that, they introduced something that's in a lot of programming languages now, a multi-line string, where you can do it like this, right? Kind of cool, except that now it screws up all your indentation, right? You can move it over here if you want to make it look nice and pretty or whatever. But that's a multi-line string, quote, double quote, double quote, double quote, and then it ends with a triple. So a triple quote, triple double quote, and it begins and ends like that. And then you can put double quotes inside of it if you want to, without escaping them, right? That allows you to take, say, scripts that you want to process in Java in another language, like SQL scripts or something like that, and you can cut and paste them directly into your Java code. I don't want that, though. All right? The end line characters, by the way, are preserved. So if I want to process these commands line by line by line, right? Obviously, this is just one big giant string. How would I take this and split it apart so that I'm only looking at line, 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 line? And by the way, there is an empty line, I believe. There we go. So we're still good. Right. No, we're not doing CPP. This is C++. Oh, no, now it's not. Okay, fine. Sorry, shouldn't have moved. I shouldn't have screwed that up. All right, there we go. All right, so how can I split it apart so that I'm only dealing line by line by line? Split, exactly. Commands dot split. Right? And what is my splitter? It's going to be that end line character. That returns an array of strings. Commands is equal to, oops, sorry. All right, command big or full commands. Something like that, because I do want to use commands now. Now, let me make sure that this is correct. For string command in commands, right? An enhanced for loop. It can be used on regular old arrays, right? If you spell it correctly. I'm going to system.out.println command. Now let's make sure that that works. Excellent. I don't have that blank line at the top, right? So competitive programmers will know these tricks up front, and they will have actually written all this stuff, prepared to cut and paste stuff really, really quickly, right? I don't like competitive programming at all because if I were, it's way too much stress. Right? I'm not going to make. I made the leaderboards 1 year on one thing, and that's also the other thing. You have to stay up until it's midnight Eastern time, so 11 o'clock at night, and I'm not doing that. That's way too late. Right? So now that I know that I'm reading my commands correctly, we need to take each one of them and process it separately, right? Move, well, that's the same everywhere. What I want is that first number, that second number, and that third number, right? Because this tells me how many to do. This tells me the origin, which one of these stacks to use, and this one tells me the destination, okay? So how do I process that one string and get everything out? I could use a scanner. Scanner S is equal to new scanner of that single command, right? And what I could do is, do I really need that move? No. So I could throw away that first string. Move, and then by default, by the way, white space is your delimiter, right? So throw away the move, right? Then I want an integer. So int num crates, or whatever it is equal to s.nextInt. Right? Now I will ignore that from s.next, right? From, right? And then I'll get the next integer, but give it a proper name, origin, right? Is equal to s.nextInt. Well, wait a second here. They were using one indexing, right? Remember that this is the first crate. Is that how programming works? Nope. So if I'm going to use that as an index, then what do I need to immediately do? Subtract 1. Right? And then 2, s.next, ignore 2. Right? And then int destination is equal to s.next int minus 1 for the same reason. Okay? I like to test things out before and make sure that everything is correct, right? In fact, let's get some more practice using proper tools to do this. I'm going to set a breakpoint at this. Right? Now, those are all warnings because it's not actually used for anything. And by the way, I should have closed S. All right, there we go. Technically, it's not a file, so there's no risk here, but that's what that warning was about this, that you opened up this scanner and never closed it. So let's go ahead and execute this. And yes, I do want to switch to my debugging perspective. All right. Come on, there we go. All right, so the first command was move 1 from 2 to 1. Right? So let's make sure that those values are created properly. Num crates, 1. We ignore the from. Origin becomes 1. Right? Remember that it was 2 originally. Right? We're just subtracting 1. And then finally, destination becomes, what? 0. Right? So I'm just convinced from this first one that we're all good. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that immediately and just jump over here. Okay? All right, we've already closed it. So how do we actually go about using this num crates, this origin, and this destination? Remember that I've stored everything in these stacks here. Okay? I need to do how many crates? For int I equals 0, I is less than num crates, I plus plus. I will move from origin to destination. Right? So how am I going to do that? Well, first of all, I need to get it from the origin, and that operation is stacks dot, well, get the origin. Right? Now I've got my stack. How do I get something off of that stack? I pop it. Right? Store that into a character. Right? Oh, I've already used C somewhere. What have I used C for? Oh, the deck up there. All right, so finally, fine, X. All right, there we go. And now what do I do with it? I put it onto the destination. So stacks.get destination.push X. There we go. At the end of all of that, I can simply just print it out and look at it. So system.out.println, what is it, stacks? I don't know if this is going to be pretty at all, but let's go ahead and try it. All right, so there's the first stack, the second stack, and then the third stack. And remember that it is top, or bottom on the left to the top on the right. Let's see if that matches what is over here. C, M, ZNDP. ZNDP. So actually, sorry, this is the top. Right? That makes sense too because it's all the way over here. Right? So what is my solution? How do I formulate my solution here? I need to iterate over each of those stacks. So for stack S in stacks, I've already used S. No, not in this context. Stack of characters. There we go. What's wrong? Thank you. Deck. Actually, stack was deprecated because of this. They don't want you to use stack anymore because there's actually no Q class. They want you to just use a deck. Just use a deck as of Java 5 or 6 or something like that. Right? So I've got my stacks here. S dot. Now, how do I don't want to pop it off. I just want to get the top of each one of these. Right? So S dot peak can do that. You're just peeking at the top, whatever the top happens to be. Okay. In fact, I don't even want to look at this anymore. Right? I just want to think about this conceptually. peek will give me what's at the top, right? And you can peek at the entire thing. You can cheat, but it's not usual, right? If you don't want a stack, don't use a stack. If you want to peek at everything, use a list, right? Anyway, so my solution will be a string, right? And I will concatenate is equal to solution concatenated with s.peek. And remember that if you're doing this with addition, plus equals works. It also works in Java with concatenation. Now, my final solution here will be system.out.println solution. Now remember, what was the solution for at least this? CMZ. All right, run this, CMZ. I've got a high, maybe 90% sure that this is correct. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I don't want to make changes to this. In practice, what I would do is I would check it into a repository. Actually, no, I'll just go ahead and change it here. Full command test string full command actual is going to end up being whatever was given in this big giant thing over here. There we go. All of these. Jeez. There we go. So it's going to look really ugly. I'll just leave it like that, though. Oh well. Right? And then, of course, I need to have a different initialization here. So I'm going to go ahead and comment that out. Right? And what I'll do is instead is stacks.add and then a new linked list of characters. And then I will cut and paste this part here and then think about how to go about doing this without too much work.
I think Deck actually had an add-on.
Oh, is there?
Feature. I was looking at the Java doc.
Would that be simpler? No, that would be 2 lines. Remember that stack is a list of decks. So I would still need to do this for all. How many of them are there? 9. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So what I need to do now is get them in here, right? So what I'm going to do, the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to cut and paste this and put it over into a different file. I don't know, new class, scratchwork. .java, and let's put in a there we go. All right, so there's my configuration that I want. Okay. They made it really inconvenient by actually visualizing it up and down like that, right? So I'm going to bring in another tool here, and these are all tricks of competitive programmers. Come on. Get rid of that because that's proto-final there. All right. And what I'm going to do is, well, I want to focus on this first one first. Remember that you have this nice little tool called block selection mode. So if you want to isolate one single column, like naively what you could do is you could treat this as a string and then process it and process the blanks as nothing or something like that and go line by line because it goes top to bottom. But the way that I'm going to do this is just by cutting and pasting. So there is your first line, right? That's not in the form that I want, though, right? Oh, by the way, this is bottom, so it should go last, I think, right? Is that right? Okay. But I want it in this form, you know, that these are all characters, so I need to do it like this, like this, like this. All right, that's a lot of typing. I don't want to do that. Do we remember those tricks that we covered about regular expressions? Right? You can find and replace things. So for example, you can find a single character here, A to Z, and I do have to turn on regular expressions. It'll find each one of those single characters. Then I can replace it with that thing. Ah, darn it. Is it number 1? I forget how to do this off the top of my head. Replace all. There we go. I did it off the top of my head. Awesome. Right? So let me describe what I just did there. By surrounding it with parentheses, what I'm doing is I'm treating that as a group. Whatever you find in there, treat that as something that I can use in a replacement expression. The $1, that's the first match. If I had multiple matches, like say, for example, A through Z, or A through Z, there we go. There's the second one. I could then do something like that, percent dollar, $2, right? I don't want to do that because I'm only looking at single ones here, right? So with one regular expression, I was able to change all of this stuff. Let me undo that because that's still not in the form that I want. I want it as an end line, or like a comma, right? So comma there, space. And then I also want to get rid of all those end line characters. End line character in this is going to be $. There we go. And replace all. Oh, come on. No $. All right, fine. It's easy enough to go ahead and get rid of all the $, or get rid of all the end line characters there. Actually, let's try this. Undo, undo, undo. Maybe a literal. There we go. Replace all. There, I got it. Just slightly different. Just like languages, there are dialects. So with regular expressions, there are dialects. There's like Perl compatible regular expression dialect. There's Microsoft dialect. Whatever the hell this is, dialect. Right? There. Is that correct? T should be at the top. Oh no. Was that right? T should be at the top. So if I do it like this. Oops, I didn't get that last one. There we go. Is that correct? T should be at the top. Was D at the top? Do we remember? In the very beginning? Okay, good. All right, we're good. Now I just need to do this over and over again. So let's go ahead and go back over here and isolate the next column. I only have to do this 9 times, and I'm not worried about, making the leaderboards or anything like that, and replace it all. Yeah, go ahead.
How did you do the vertical selection?
All right, good question. So let's come back over here, and let's cut and paste this first on the second. There we go. All right. So how do I do the vertical selection like this? Right. Oh, why is there no... Whoa. What happens when there are blanks? Did we read that?
I think you just didn't copy it.
Oh, wasn't it? Oh, crap. BQMS. BQ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Oh no, it screwed up all of this. It's all dunked up. All right, fine. All right, I'm going to go out of block selection mode and see if I can. Probably because it treated it as code. Okay, I'll do it proper. Actually, yeah. String input is equal to this thing, there. That's still not. All right. Where's Q go? There? All right, is that proper? Okay. And then we have too many of these. 1, 2, 3. All right, there. Now I've got it. So now to go back to your question, did I copy everything else for the first 3 though? Was that okay?
No.
Oh, darn it. All right, fine. How, was the first one okay? No. It's all screwed up. All right, now to answer your question, now that we've got it in correct mode here, in Mac, it's going to be Option Command A to get into code's block selection mode, right? And then you can select any block anywhere. In fact, you can select any block and then start typing, "Hello, world, how are you?" Right? You can do the same thing, by the way. Here, let me restart CS50 IDE over there. But in the CS50 IDE online for a Mac, it's going to be Shift Option, and then you select. Right? You hold them down, and then you select. All right, so, sorry. Let's go ahead and do this one by one. replace all. There we go. Come back over here. And there. I could probably do this a little bit quicker if, no. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. All right. Cut, paste, replace all. There we go. And over here, in fact, let's switch these so that I don't have to switch back and forth every single time. There we go. So visually, please keep checking these to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. Replace all. Come back over here. There. By now, somebody has completely beaten us, I'm sure, if this were a real competition. Oh, nope, I want end line, replace all. Oh, and then this year they added an addendum at the top that said, please do not use AI to solve the problems. That'll really screw up their leaderboard because now you're just getting a bunch of cheaters. All right. And unfortunately, there's only ever one input example given, right? And so, you know, I'm 90% sure that it's correct, but who knows? Did anybody see any problems? We trust our solution. There we go. And then 7, 8, 9, only 3 left. I don't even need to do it like this, but whatever. That's short enough, I mean. All right, there. And then up here. We all know that we can split screens, right? You can take anything and then any tab and move it anywhere else, just like most IDEs support that. Replace all. It's helpful if you need to look at things side by side. And then finally the last one. Maybe I should have just done this before I came and then showed you the process of doing it so that I'm not wasting everybody's time here. There we go. All right, so go ahead and get rid of this. Yeah, all right, fine, save it. All right, there's the full command. Full stack. Now, at this point, you cross your fingers and hope that it's correct. Right. Is there any way that you're going to be able to verify that by hand? No, 500 things. So I've not done this yet, otherwise it would have displayed what the answer is. Instead, I usually just cross my fingers here and submit. And by the way, if you're wrong, you have to wait like 2 minutes because to prevent people from just, you know, spamming it with bots. Hey, gold star, everyone. Right. All of them contain a part 2. That if you did part 1 in a quick and dirty way, then you have to go back and redo it. Because usually you can, once you've seen enough of these, you can predict what they're going to do. I'll talk about that here in a second with today, with the day 1 here. But continue to part 2 here. Oops, where is part 2? As you watch the crane operator expertly rearrange the crates, you notice that the process isn't following your prediction. Some mud was covering the writing on the side of the crane, and you quickly wipe it away. The crane isn't crate mover 9000, it's 9001. It's is notable for many new and exciting features. Air conditioning, leather seats, blah, blah, blah. The ability to pick up and move multiple crates at once. Okay. So the crates will, for example, moving a single crate from stack 2 to stack 1 behaves as before. Okay. However, the action of moving 3 crates from stack 1 to stack 3 means that now you've moved 3 crates. Stay in the same order. So now we're no longer dealing with a stack. Right? That's all right. Because what we can do now is instead of treating this like a deck, right? In fact, let's modify this here. Move from the origin to the destination. Instead of having this for loop here, let me go ahead and get rid of this. What you can do is you can treat it like a list. And take out a sublist. Right? So what I mean by that is let's get our deck. What is it? Deck for whatever. S.getOrigin. They're a deck of what? Characters? Or O. There we go. And what you can do is you can chomp out an entire sublist. Remove. Right? No, remove. Well, they're all unique, so you could do something like this. So let's go ahead and get the sublist first. O dot sublist. Nope. O dot contains elements equals. All right, they really wrote this for Python because they're in Python you don't have stacks, queues, or anything. You just have lists. Remove all. Nope. Remove from. There should be like a sublist that you can't do that. Fine. List of characters. At this point, I would go back and actually treat everything like a list instead of a deck or a stack. Sublist or a sub list foo is equal to new array list of characters. And what I'm going to do is foo.sublist. What you can do is you can get an entire stack of crates. If you start at whatever, if you go all the way to the foo.size -1, and then foo.size -1 minus num crates. Right. That will give you everything on top for however many crates there are. Right? And then what you can do is say o.remove all. I got to put it into a sublist, I guess, right? Move. There we go. You can remove all of the moves, and then you can add it onto the other one. Origin, the destination, dot add all, but I need to reverse this. There. Now, of course, that's the idea, right? Why am I reversing it, by the way? Because if I go in order here, oh no, would I reverse it? No, you start here down at the bottom, you push. So it's just add all and then no reversal here. And I need a destination here, so dest. And what was a destination? There we go. All right, that's not returning them all. I just need to do it in separate statements here. Move. Right. So I've removed them all from the other one. I've added them all to this one. I have no idea if this will even work because I need to go back and test it with the sample input, right? But I don't know. I'll just go ahead. Oh, nope. It's definitely not going to work because my sublist down here is off by 1. Not that. Oh, no? I got foo. Oh, you know what? Yes, you're right. Thank you. Oh. All I'm doing is copying that deck into foo. I'm still getting an exception. Now it's just somewhere else, though. Up to, but not including. So is it actually -2? No, it'll be like that. That's why. I was off by 1, I think. No, still wrong. And now at this point, I'm just taking stabs in the dark. And we only have 5 minutes left anyway. So, in this afternoon's class, what I'll probably be doing is going to the actual first day today, because I wanted to talk about how to do things proper if you're going to attempt a lot of this stuff. So you can ignore like the elves are doing something, who knows. But you're given a bunch of lines of alphanumeric strings. And the newly calibrated document says that you need to find the first digit and the last digit in that order. So 1 and 2, that becomes your first number, 12. Then 3 and 8. That becomes your second number, 38. This one has 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So you take you take the first one and the last one, that gives you 15. This one only has one number. Therefore, it is the first and the last. That becomes your number 77 here. You add all of those up together and you get 142. All right? Now, I'm thinking ahead here, especially if I'm going to do this in C, because they're probably going to want all the numbers. So the way that I would approach this problem is by writing a function, and I'll do this afternoon if you want to watch the live stream, where we take this string, we iterate through it, and we grab all of the numbers and put them into a separate string. Here's your new string. We can solve this problem by simply just looking at the first character and the last character and converting them to integers, right? Adding them together, and then there's all the numbers. I am thinking that in the second follow-up, if you just do it really quickly and only grab the first one and then work from the other direction and grab the last one, you're going to miss the ones in the middle that then become important, right? So predicting here that I'm probably going to want all of them. And so I would probably write several different functions, helper functions. Basically, I would solve the more general problem of extracting all of the numbers first. Right? Because this is the more specific problem. You want the first digit and the last digit. What happens if you want the second to last digit, the penultimate digit? What if you want the third digit or something like that, right? And if I've solved that general problem first, then all other problems become easy because I can do them in I can reuse the same solution over and over, right? So that's what I'll do this afternoon here. And then actually what I'll do now downstairs is I'll go back and see what I screwed up here. Actually, I'm going to start over. And now that I know what the second one is, I'm an idiot for thinking that they were going to treat this like a full-on stack and queues and decks. I'm going to go back and change this to just a list of lists. Right? Because a list, you can still just work from one end or the other. You can treat it like a stack or a queue. It sounds like they probably did this thinking Pythonically, right? All right, so post your solution if you want to Piazza, since this is definitely not your final exam. Your final exam, of course, is on Wednesday of finals week, not next week. That's dead week. Wednesday of dead week, or Wednesday of finals week. Or no, sorry, that's the main section. What day is it on? Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday. It's I don't know what the hours are because it doesn't really matter. It's not in person. You'll have the same 24-hour window to do it. Right? There will probably be a C version and a Java version, and or part of it versus part of it. I don't know yet because I haven't written it yet. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's probably going to be some sort of a data processing, exercise. What we'll do next week, if we want to continue with Advent of Code, we can. But otherwise, at least for 1 or 2 days next week, I'll take last year's final and then the year's final before that, and we'll do them. We'll do one in C, we'll do one in Java. Right. Any questions?
Is it still code post unlimited attempts?
Yeah. I want it to be heavy-duty data processing, though, so unfortunately, we can't do that with CodePost because they have a 2 megabyte limit. And like the weather, the one we did last year was this weather data where there were tens of millions of data points. We would not be able to put that file up. So the way that I'm thinking I'm going to structure it is something like that. If I do something like that, that is, that will give you the file. You have to produce the report and hand in the report along with your code. And then we'll have some automated tests on CodePost on smaller samples so that it actually runs and says, yes, it's correct. And then we'll have to manually look at your report. Kind of like how we're having to manually look at your report for Lab 13 and Hack 13. Because the solution there was we gave you all the code to format the report. Just follow that formatting and it should be okay. No? All right, then have a good weekend.